If you've spent any time comparing electric fireplaces lately, you know the options can feel overwhelming. Some look great in photos but feel flimsy once they're in your living room. Others promise realistic flames but end up looking more like a space heater with a screen. After digging into the DIMPLEX Revillusion 42-inch built-in electric firebox, I think it actually solves the right problems without overpromising. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. This isn't one of those plug-and-play units that sits on a shelf and calls it a day. It's designed to disappear into your wall like a real fireplace, which is exactly what people want when they're tired of bulky TV stands or fake-looking inserts. The 42-inch size gives you real presence without dominating a small room, and the herringbone brick interior isn't just for show, it adds depth to the flame reflection so the fire looks like it's flickering against real masonry. That's the kind of detail that separates a decorative heater from something that actually feels like a focal point. The included faux Logset is handcrafted and looks a lot more convincing than the molded plastic sets you find in cheaper models. When the flames kick in, the logs catch the glow in a way that mimics real embers, which is more than you can say for most electric fireplaces that just light up a generic pile of sticks. The front glass panel is tempered and stays cool to the touch, so if you have kids or pets, you don't have to worry about accidental burns or cracked fronts from curious hands. That's a small but important detail that often gets overlooked until you're living with the unit. Installation is where a lot of people get tripped up. This one is built-in, so you'll need to frame it into your wall like a traditional fireplace. If you're comfortable with drywall work and basic wiring, it's straightforward. The plug kit means you don't have to mess with hardwiring, but you will need a nearby outlet, something to check before you commit. The dimensions are standard for a 42-inch unit, but if your wall isn't perfectly square or your studs aren't spaced right, you might need an extra trim kit or a custom cut. That's not a flaw in the product, it's just the reality of built-in units. Measure twice, order once. The flame effect itself is where this model shines. It's not the brightest or the most intense you'll find, but it's smooth and doesn't strobe like some cheaper units. The realism comes from the way the flames dance across the logs and the brick, not from over-the-top brightness. If you're looking for a roaring fire that could pass for the real thing, this isn't it. But if you want something that adds ambience without the noise, the mess, or the drafts of a wood fireplace, it's a solid choice. The heat output is modest, around 5,000 BTS, so it's not going to heat a large room on its own. Think of it as a supplement to your main heating system, not a replacement. One thing that surprised me is how quiet it is. The fan kicks in only when the heater is running, and even then, it's barely noticeable under normal room noise. That's a big deal if you're trying to create a cozy atmosphere without the hum of a space heater in the background. The remote is simple but effective, with direct access to flame brightness, heat settings, and a timer. No app, no Bluetooth, just reliable, no fuss control. Who should buy this? If you're renovating a living room, finishing a basement, or replacing an old gas fireplace that's seen better days, this is a great middle ground. It's stylish enough to hold its own in a modern or transitional space, and it's practical enough to use daily without frustration. If you're on a tight budget, there are cheaper plug-in models, but they won't give you the built-in look or the realistic flame effect. If you need serious heat or a statement piece that looks like a real wood-burning fireplace, you might want to look at larger or more expensive units. The biggest trade-off is the size. At 42 inches, it's not tiny, but it's not massive either. If you have a large open concept space, it might get lost. Also, the brick interior is fixed, no swapping out for stone or tile, so if you change your mind later, you're stuck with the herringbone pattern. That's a design choice, not a flaw, but it's worth considering if you like to switch up your decor often. Overall, the DIMPLEX Revillusion 42-inch built-in electric firebox delivers on what it promises, a realistic-looking fireplace that's easy to live with. It's not the cheapest option, but it's not overpriced for what it is. If you've been on the fence about electric fireplaces because they all seem too fake or too flimsy, this one might be the exception.